Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to a new reading vlog. I follow Anya Taylor-Joy on Instagram and she has two story highlights. One are Corn Reads and the other is Mas, which is a continuation of her Corn Reads. And she has a ton of book recommendations on these two story highlights. And I have gone through them over and over and over again, and I thought to myself, why not read maybe 2 or 3 books out of this entire selection that she has recommended and see if we have similar tastes. Based on looking at these stories alone, I know we don't have similar tastes. We read very different things, and I looked up every single book that she has recommended, and a lot of them aren't really things that I would pick up myself. While we do both like literary fiction, I feel like her taste in literary fiction are the things that I'm not necessarily interested in. So it was a bit difficult to find 2 reads that I think I would like to read for this reading vlog, but I did come up with 2, and I am very excited to start this reading vlog just to read like Anya Taylor-Joy for a week, maybe 2 or more. The time doesn't really matter for you. It matters for me, but not for you. So the first novel that I found on Anya Taylor-Joy's Instagram that I thought I would like to read on an audiobook is Mona by Paula Olixerac. And this is a book that has a very interesting cover. At first, it kind of turned me off from it, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but then I read the synopsis and I thought this seems like something I would really enjoy. It says that the main character, Mona, pokes fun at American academic culture and its fixation on identity, and then when she's nominated for the most important literary award in Europe, she sees the chance to escape her downward spiral of sunlit substance abuse and erotic distraction, and she trades the temptations of California for a small gray village in Sweden. It seems like a very interesting read. Like I said, it's a pretty short read as well, so what I'm hoping to do today after work is get back into sketching because I have a Mandalorian sketch that I'm trying to finish before the new season comes out, and I do really want to set out the time to work on it, and I also want to paint my nails. These are 2 tasks that I can do while I listen to my audiobook, and because I listen to my audiobook on 1.75 to 2 times speed, I could probably read this book within 2 hours. I also wanted to give some background as to why I chose Anya Taylor-Joy for this video. One, she openly posts about the books that she reads on Instagram, which not a lot of celebrities do. And then I also am a really big fan of her. I was introduced to Anya Taylor-Joy when she played the wife of Michael in Peaky Blinders. I forgot her name, and her role was so insufferable and so aggravating, but she did it so well. She just really captured every moment when she was on screen, and I grew really interested in her. And then I saw her in The Last Night in Soho. While I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie, she was enigmatic in it. She really stole the spotlight and was just so beautiful in that movie. And then I saw her in The Menu, and I absolutely loved that movie. She was so fun in it, and I just love seeing her in these subtle horror movies, and I just grew to really admire her. She is a beautiful person. She has such a unique looking face, and I love her sense of style, and she just is an all-around cool person. So once I saw that she had a lot of book recommendations on her Instagram, I had to do this video. So I'm excited to get deeper into Mona. I'm already maybe like 17 minutes into the audiobook, so I have nothing really to say, but I am very excited to continue on and continue my sketch because I really want to focus on that. I draw like maybe like once or twice a year, and I do want to focus on this drawing so I can finish it before The Mandalorian comes out. So that's going to be like my side. My wrist keeps cracking whenever I move it. So that's going to be my side quest while I listen to my audiobook, and I'm also going to paint my nails. I don't know what color yet. Maybe like a dark brown would be nice, but we'll see.
I cannot ignore this. I've grabbed my blinders
I didn't even realize that Mona is translated. It is translated from Spanish by Adam Morris. I thought it was an American writer, but it's actually an Argentine writer, which is really cool. So not only am I reading a book that Anya Taylor-Joy really enjoyed, but I'm also reading a book from the country that she is from, which is Argentina. Also, here is an update of my Mandalorian sketch. I have the original photo on my iPad, which I reference because this doesn't feel too accurate. I feel like I can see it better on my iPad. And I have these grids because when I initially sketched out The Mandalorian, this is kind of like a perspective grid. So you follow what has to be included in each grid. And I feel like it makes it a lot easier to draw because if I were to draw without this grid, the perspective would be completely off. I learned that in my art class in high school and it has changed the game for drawing for me. I really do rely on it in order to keep everything in proportion, to keep it looking nice, and I'm still getting used to shading because, like I said before, I draw like once or twice a year, so I do understand how to shade, but I am just not used to it, so it takes me a little bit to get back into it, but I feel like it's pretty good. Nobody tell me if it doesn't look good because I am fragile. Also, I am an hour and 30 minutes into Mona. I feel like it went by so quickly. I don't know how long I've been sketching, but I'm enjoying it. The main character, Mona, is in a writing retreat, and there's going to be that one prestigious award that one winner will get. And all these writers from around the world are discussing their identity, why they write, and she is kind of scoffing at the hipsters who are there and how they rely so much on their identity in order to somewhat have a personality, and she feels a bit above that. And it's an interesting take to have, especially from someone who isn't American, because Americans rely a lot on these identifiers in order to kind of navigate life, and for other countries, it's not really like that. So hearing that discussed in this book is just a very interesting thing to do, and I'm excited to get a little bit deeper. I think I'm going to try and hit like the 2-hour mark of this story, and then I'm going to paint my nails because I cannot sketch for hours. I get really bored after a while and my patience kind of wanes. So we have about 30 minutes left and then I will get to paint my nails. Alrighty, this is what we have for today. I was able to listen to 2 hours of Mona all within that time that it took to sketch out this. So I'm really happy with it. I'm throwing up my hands, open in these arms, time is sliding down the wall. There is an animal living inside me, gripping my heart, slow me down, the greatest weight that I've ever held, and I can't keep it all. Okay, I also made this card for my dad's birthday. He loves the Jungle Cruise. If you saw my Disney vlog, which I will link down below, we waited an hour and a half to ride the Jungle Cruise at night. I know the perspective is a little bit off because it's like facing the backside of water, but this was like freehand and I think it's really cute even though the perspective is a little bit weird. But I think he'll really appreciate it. One thing I love to do for people is personalize my cards for them, so I don't really go out and buy them. I usually just get them a card and then I draw whatever they love on the cover of it, so I really hope that he will enjoy this. And I also used some Posca markers, like paint markers, to create the different colors, just to give it a little bit more detail. So I finished Mona last night right before bed and I felt very accomplished because I haven't finished a book in one day in a while because I'm a very slow reader, and I was able to finish that one in one evening, which was really nice, even though it was a 4-hour audiobook and I listened to it on 2x speed, so I finished it in 2 hours time. I didn't necessarily love it and I didn't necessarily hate it. I just felt very neutral about the whole entire story. So we follow Mona, who is going on a writer's retreat after going through a traumatic episode right before that she's still trying to process as she's attending this event. And at this event, we are seeing all these different authors from around the world, and they are commodifying their identities to kind of fluff themselves up. And Mona comes from a country where they don't necessarily rely on their identity to carry themselves through society. But in American academia, they tokenize certain identities. So it was a very interesting topic to explore, especially from someone outside of American academia, kind of immersing themselves into that world, especially the literary world, which is male dominated and primarily white. So hearing her thoughts about the different writers that she was surrounded by was interesting. But I also thought that it played into the stereotypes that she was poking fun at. The sun is just coming out because she was stereotyping the people that she was around. She felt somewhat above these stereotypes that were placed onto people in society, but then she also played into those stereotypes in the way that she described the people who were on this trip with her. So it felt very weird, and that could have been intentional by the author, but it just felt a bit off for me. So I felt like she had the message that she was trying to send, but then she also counteracted that message by being the problem that she was then critiquing in a way. Also, the ending of this novel was a bit bizarre. It shifted genres drastically, and I understand the purpose of it because we are talking about trauma and she's exploring that and slowly unfurling that throughout this trip in this novel. But the way that this novel ended was absolutely bizarre. It was so left field and so random that I was just like, what? Overall, this story wouldn't leave a lasting impression on me. I feel like I can already feel myself forgetting this story, but it was really interesting to read, especially because this author is Argentinian and Anya Taylor-Joy is Argentinian as well. So reading from an author from her country was something I definitely wanted to do. And while it didn't resonate with me as much as it probably did with Anya, I still had a good time with it, but it isn't necessarily a story that really stuck in my mind. The next thing that I'm going to read that was recommended over on Anya Taylor-Joy's Instagram is The Lonely City. This is a nonfiction that I've been wanting to read for weeks upon weeks because I think it will really resonate with me and it's a topic that I'm interested in. So The Lonely City is a nonfiction exploring living in a city and feeling completely alone even though you're surrounded by millions and millions of people. It says that Lang conducts an electrifying investigation into what it means to be alone, illuminating not only the causes of loneliness but also how it might be resisted and redeemed. And I'm very excited to dive into this because I'm trying to read one nonfiction a month. I also wanted to share my outfit of the day because last night I was looking up Anya Taylor-Joy's street style and I thought it would be really fun to wear an outfit inspired by her to the cafe. So today I'm just wearing a black sweater, leggings, and combat boots. I saw that outfit a lot on Pinterest and I just thought it was really nice and simple, and it's basically my uniform. This is a really bad way to end the vlog, but I DNF'd The Lonely City. I got 135 pages instead of nonfiction and thought to myself, I'm not having a good time. I'm dreading picking this up. It's time to finally call it a quits. I went into The Lonely City thinking it would be primarily a memoir following Olivia as she is living in a city, she is dealing with loneliness, and she just kind of reckons with that overall emotion. But instead, every single chapter would start off with an anecdote about her life and her loneliness that she feels, and then it would dive into the history of a person who lived in a city who was a primarily solitary person. So people like Edward Hopper and Andy Warhol, among others. but every single chapter felt like a history textbook. It didn't feel like a memoir or a fascinating nonfiction. It felt like a textbook regurgitating these people's careers and their lives in a city that they lived in. And it didn't feel like it actually examined loneliness. It just examined the lives of these people and how they progressed throughout their career and their life and the issues that they had to deal with. But I didn't feel like we actually examined loneliness. And I also didn't enjoy the fact that there's not a single chapter focusing on a woman in history who dealt with loneliness. I felt very disconnected from this nonfiction and I wanted more out of it than I actually got, so I decided to put it down because it felt more like a chore and a textbook that I was reading rather than a nonfiction examining what it feels like to be alone and to crave connection and to be in that state of being that can consume you whole. So even though this is one of my most anticipated reads on my TBR, I am very sad to say I DNF'd it. And I am finishing off this vlog. It was a really fun challenge to read like Anya Taylor-Joy to see if we have similar taste, which we do not, and it's totally fine. We have very different things that we are interested in literarily, and I thought it was a fun way to expand my horizons, to try out reading like someone else, especially a celebrity who recommends tons and tons of books on her stories. So it was fun to kind of step into her shoes and see what she's interested in, and I had a lot of fun with it. So let me know if there are any other celebrities who recommend books that you think I should do a reading vlog about. I would love to hear your ideas down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this reading challenge, if you have read any of the books that I featured in this video, and if you want to follow me anywhere else on social media, all my links will be down below. If you have stayed this far in the video, leave a black heart emoji to match my outfit, and thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I appreciate it. Also, before I go, I have a really fun announcement that I have created a movie club over on my Discord. Every single month we're going to vote on a movie that we want to see, we're going to watch it live together or on your own time, and then we would discuss our thoughts about it once a month. It's going to be a very casual, cozy type of movie club, open to everyone around the world. So if you want to join in on that, or my Discord in general, which is a really fun, cozy community, that link will be down below if you want to join. And I will see you in another video very soon.